So I hope.
All right, now you're recording, so don't say anything funny. Okay. So the purpose of this today is to figure out how to batch. What do you call it? Batch. Integrate the Drupal website, right, with the old HTML website. So we're going to take the old Genie website that was just HTML files and grab out the main portion that's divided up by div tags, right, from the main portion, and we're going to integrate it into the new Genie 15 site. But we're going to do it in mass, not just one at a time, but a whole lot of them at a time. And we're using Drupal, and we're using a module called HTML.
Import HTML.
Import HTML. Good. Okay, so take us through that.
Okay. Let me start with a short presentation about the main idea.
Okay, so they can see what's on the screen right now, and they can hear you speaking, so speak loud.
Oh, okay, I will try.
Okay.
I think the main idea about import a group of pages using the module import HTML is you need to understand the changes you have to do in the source page to the new page in Drupal. I think some secret is about what we have to do in the links and images about the code, the HTML code, to move it to Drupal, and the links and images still working, keep working.
Right, so I'll translate Portuguese now.
Okay.
So in the old site, there are links and there are images that have URLs associated with them that are going to change into the new site. And so we have to make sure that the breadcrumbs, or the, what is it called, the file path is correct as we change it over to the new site.
So do we need to do something in the HTML before we import them? Do you need to open the Dreamweaver and do something?
The perfect situation is when you don't have to do nothing, when you don't need to change nothing. This in the source HTML. Okay. It's the perfect situation.
But and in our situation, do we need to open the Dreamweaver and start it in there?
In the situations that I imported the pages, I didn't. I don't do nothing.
Right. So
I just understand the standards in the original pages to move it to the new pages.
Right. So we don't necessarily have to open it up and change anything or insert things like we were before, because it's already got the main section's already got a div tag for the main section.
Yeah, I already changed
And there's
those.
a standardized file path format, which I think he's got outlined here in red and green. So go ahead and describe the red and green part.
Okay. The idea is about the links. When I look for the global energy grid section in the old Genie website, I found a standard that all the links, I found the name genie.org, global energy library, something like energy grid. Okay. All the pages that I opened, I could find this pattern, this standard. And this is something really important. And
it's supposed to be in every page we have.
Not every page.
Not every page.
It's supposed to be, I said.
Yes, in that section, every page.
Yeah.
But if you look in other sections of the website, you will not find this pattern, but maybe another pattern, other standard.
So the module has a place where you can set up this pattern so that it automatically switches to the new pattern, right?
Yeah, we have to teach the import HTML to make the change.
Right. So we'll do that.
Yes. For images, I found the pattern. Not all the images, but most of the images were in graphics / something more. That's other things really important.
So in the old Genie site, most of the images were in the graphics folder.
Yes, exactly. Then, to move for the new page, the Drupal page, I taught the import HTML to change the links, to remove genie.org, and keep the other part. Change for something like this. Global energy library, energy grid, something more. Okay. This is really important because when import HTML creates the path, he put the extension .html, and this is important because the old links keep working.
Right. So, but does the import HTML actually create this file structure when you tell it to do that? It creates the same file structure, or do they have to be set up beforehand?
Yes, actually, they create the same structure.
Okay. So it automatically creates whatever the structure that you tell it to.
Yes.
So it can create the files, and then if they already exist, it probably tests to see if it's there, and then just puts the last file into that folder.
Yes, but in this situation, we are talking only about the HTML pages.
Right.
Okay. When we are talking about images and the PDF files and other kinds of files, is a little different.
Okay.
That I will explain now.
So how do the graphics work then? The
Yes.
images.
Okay. The images, all images and the other kinds of files, as PDF, videos, they have to be stored in a place called sites, default files, something more in Drupal. This is a pattern in Drupal. All the files, images, videos, and PDF have to be stored in this structure of folder. This is really important. This means that if you keep this address, this will not work.
Right.
You have to teach import HTML to change this address for something like this.
Right.
Okay.
So the old file folder graphics now is going to become a Drupal file path that's site/default/file/national energy grid.
Exactly.
And how did we define that folder would be called national energy grid? Did we do that? We set that up beforehand, or
Yes, yes.
or did Drupal set that up?
No, you have to define it, because in this case, because we find a section, and the name of the section is National Energy Grid. I decided to create one folder called National Energy Grid.
Right.
Because this is a pattern in Drupal.
First three is Drupal, and then the National Energy Grid is the file
Then
folder.
the only thing we have to do is create the National Energy Grid and put all the images in the folder graphics.
Right.
Okay, that was the job. Then what we have to do when we are setting the parameters in import HTML, we have to teach Drupal to replace genie.org for nothing.
Right.
Okay, it's just a parameter I will show after. And for images, you have to teach to include this part for something like this.
Right. So let me see if I can translate Portuguese again. So we translate the old Genie file structure. We get rid of that and make it a, or no, we keep the old Genie file structure, but for the HTML document, but we make it a relative path rather than an absolute path for the URL, so that the pages will link within our site, but they're no longer going to have an absolute path URL. They're going to have a relative path URL. And then for the images, we just replace the graphics part of the URL with the green part at the bottom that's got the new file path that we're designing for it. And then everything should be linked properly if that works.
Perfect.
So can we go through what's next? What are we
Okay,
gonna do?
we can do, first I would like to make an example.
Okay.
Not using Drupal, but I think it's a good way to see what I am talking about. If we go to a notepad, and we put this address, and then I will get image. And I will put here too. Imagine this is our HTML page, and then I have to change this for a Drupal standard.
Right.
What I have to do is, I will keep this, I will select this, and I will teach Drupal to replace this information for nothing.
With a blank.
Yes. Okay. I will write this in one when I am putting the parameters in import HTML. If I click in replace, okay, I have the new standard.
Right. So you're just giving us an example of what the software
yes,
does
the software.
with the module.
Yes, exactly. And
Yep.
for images, it's the same. What I have to do is I will click in edit, replace.
Copy the new
And
image
in this
path.
case, yes,
Yeah.
in this case, what I can do, I can put here
Graphics.
SCR equal something like this for the same thing with the new address.
Right. So it's just
Okay.
replacing. Yeah.
Yes, just to replace.
Just
Replace.
what was that called?
Oh.
Is adding the prefix of the file path, right?
Yes, I think it's because of the character here. Wait a moment. Okay. Just replace. SCR equal. Try something like this. Okay, just for test. Replace. Okay.
There it goes.
Okay, they will change. That's the main idea. We are talking only about get the HTML code and change for something with
Right.
more information. Okay?
So now, can we go into Drupal and actually do an
Yes.
example?
Okay.
Okay, so which site is open here? This is the Genie 15 site.
15,
Yes. Then now I am in Genie 15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you are logged in as a admin.
Yes.
Yes.
Fabio's an admin on this site.
Yes.
Yeah.
Admin.
So he's got the menu at the top.
If I click here in structure, then I will have the module import HTML site.
See it?
Okay. And when I click here, import HTML site, I have some profiles that I created here, a profile called National Energy Grid. That is a profile to import the section National Energy Grid.
Sure.
What we have to do is, every section that we identify in the genie.org, we have to create a specific profile, because probably the pattern, the standards will be different.
Right, but this module can save multiple profiles, right?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
We can do this.
So now you're clicking on Manage
Click in
Settings.
Manage Settings.
Click on the tab.
Okay. Then I have to click in New.
Okay. Create a new.
And then I will create a new profile. This is really important. The profile that I will create will call letters, for example, because I want to import the letters of the folder library. It's just an example. I will not import, but just an example. Then I'm calling the profile ID letters. Then I have to define the patterns here.
So import and content analysis options, right? So import templates use.
Yeah, this is she's a XSL template that actually is a code prepared to read HTML tags. I'm not creating this. Is import HTML gave this for us.
Can you click on the drop down real quick and see what else is under there? So
We
there's a
have-
bunch of different standard
Yes,
models
we have others
for different types of markup languages.
yes. For example, here probably is a
WordPress.
template created to import a blog from WordPress,
Right.
something like this.
So here would be WordPress, and then each one of these is useful for different types of websites. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Great. So that's self-explanatory. What's the next one?
Yes, all the templates that all the profiles that I created, I use only this template.
Yeah.
I
So
don't have
you just used
I didn't have
HTML to
to
simple HTML.
Okay.
Right.
The content tag ID is the other parameter really important. That's here you will define which part of the HTML page you want to import.
Right. So
What
this will
tag?
set the tag for the main section or the footer section or the top section, whatever you want.
Exactly. When I look for in genie.org, the content related with the tag related with the content called main content.
Main content, right?
Yes, is the name of that.
So it's all tagged properly in our old site, right?
Yes. Then
Wow.
I have to write
That's
main
pretty.
content.
That's pretty. That's good, because I wouldn't have believed that we had actually properly labeled all the content, but we did in
Yes.
the old site.
Yes, it's
Was
really
that
good.
you,
Surprising.
Ryan? What? Did you go in and read?
Not all.
Not all of them?
Not all
Just
of them.
some of them?
Just some.
Okay.
Just like 500 or something.
500.
Yeah.
So yeah, if your content is tagged right, this makes this process much easier.
Yes, much.
So mains
easier.
underscore content is the tag that is that content that we're going to steal from the old site.
Exactly. Let me show this tag.
Yeah, let's look at one of the old pages.
Yes, well, I will try to get one different section. Okay, I'm not sure if we have the section or not.
Great. It's a test.
It's a test. Then
Okay.
I move
So
here.
this is looking at Dreamweaver now, and we're looking at one of the main sections of one of the old pages under multimedia.
Exactly.
And if we look at the tags, we have a tag ID main content. Look at that. Align center, right?
Okay.
Perfect.
Is
And show,
Yes.
can you drop down, is they got a closed tag, a closed div tag?
actually if we move here in Dreamweaver,
It shows you all
it
what's
show
highlighted.
all yes
Yeah.
all the content.
Good, good. So we're not bringing
here.
any of the navigation or any of the footer or anything like that, just the main content.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
It's really good. Okay.
So going back to Drupal now,
Going
we're
back to Drupal.
in the module. What else do we have to define here?
The other parameters you don't have to worry about. These parameters. Let me see what we have more.
So there's a lot of extra variables here we could define if we needed to, but on this project we don't need them.
We don't need. Okay. And then we have other section here with the name replication options. Then I will click here. And that is other important section.
Okay.
Okay.
What's important?
It's important. For example, this option import site prefix is import HTML. We will use this option to define the address of the page.
The original address of the
Yes.
first Genie page, yeah.
Then, for example, if I am using the pages, if I want to import the letters page, then I have to come here for the Genie website and go to Genie US letters.
Right. Oh, I see. And at the top, there's the entire URL path, right?
Yes, then I have to get this pattern. That's what I need.
So you copy that.
All the pages that Drupal will import have to be created using this prefix.
Okay.
Then I go back to Drupal, and then I put the prefix. Why this prefix is important? If you not use this, you will be able to import the pages, will works, but the pages will be created with a different address from the old website.
So this is actually creating that file path that we were talking about before in the new Genie 15 site.
Yes, this the idea, because the new pages have to be created with the all the links have to work. Okay.
So this will help the links all connect correctly.
Exactly. Extra file storage path. Here you have to put the address where you will put your images.
Right.
Then, for example, in letters, I can put letters, sites, the full files, and then something more.
So we did last time we did graphics, and this time we're doing letters, right?
Yes, I will left letters, for example.
And do you have to put a backslash after the letters, or is it just?
I'm not sure.
Let's check on that.
Yes, let me check.
So this is for both the HTML file, and the links, and then the graphics. Make sure the graphics come into the main content area correctly, and that they're stored somewhere on the new Genie 15.
No, I think we don't need, but I check and
okay.
answer.
So we probably don't need the last backslash on there, because it's gonna create that file path, and so it probably will check to see that there's already sites, default, and files, and then it'll create a folder called letters. All right. What are those little? What are all these buttons? These radio buttons?
This you can keep these options available, is not a problem, but the last radio button is really important to uncheck.
We have to uncheck the last radio button called relink reference to resources to the new file location.
Yes. Why
so
we have it?
Unrelinking.
Yes. Why we have to uncheck this option? Because import HTML trying to fix all the links we have. And the tests that I did to import the HTML page, when import HTML tried to fix the links, actually was not fixed.
It was probably trying to relink back to the old site using like a universal URL, and we want it to be relative and we want it to be in the new file structure. So
Yes.
we're going to actually like pull in the files into the new
Yes.
file structure.
Yeah, usually if you are using the resource to replace the links and images with the option to replace this, is you have to uncheck this.
Right.
Okay. Maybe we can try to use this option, but if you use this, we cannot use the another resource to replace the names of the.
So did you figure that out just by trial and error, or did somebody tell you, or did you have to?
No, I have to figure out.
You had to figure it out.
Yes, I will try to. Okay, I understand how it works, and then I uncheck and
It
we'll
worked.
try it. Yes.
Cool.
Okay. Publish settings. This is a radio button called imported nodes are published. I want to keep this checked.
So everything you import becomes automatically published, so that people can see it on the site.
Yes, exactly. And the other section here is menu settings.
Right.
And this is a really important radio button here that we have to uncheck it.
You have to uncheck
Yes.
add each page to menu.
Yes.
So this way, not all the pages that we create are not going to be automatically added to the main menu or to any menu, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
If you keep this checked, the problem is all pages you imported will appear in the menu.
Right. We don't want them in the well. This one's directly connected to the main menu. It looks like so menu parent is main menu.
Yes, you
What
can
is the
choose.
drop-down guide under it? So that's
Okay.
all the different menus.
Yes, you can see all the different menus, and then you can choose what level
So
you
if we
want
wanted to, we could actually import it into a sub-menu,
Yes, you can.
right? But we're basically just importing them without putting them in any menu. So how are we going to find these pages in the future?
And we already have the menu there, so now when we import the letter, does it go under the letter menu?
Right. So Raya,
so-
can you scroll through there and find the letter menu on there?
I'm not sure if I'm going to find that, but I know that we have the old menu already in Genie 15. So when we import something, does it already connect with the menu or not?
Okay, I think
It can.
understand your
I
case.
think
Yes.
it can. But
Yes, you can, but for example, in case of letters, what we have is we have the link in the menu letters, and if you click in the link of the menu letters, Drupal will open the main page
the main page has
with
links.
all the links.
Yeah, has links
letters.
down into it.
So
you
this
don't have
page is going to there, so we don't need to link it to the menu anymore.
Right. So that
After
main
we
page
import
is
that.
the menu for the letters.
Actually, not.
Not.
Let me show here.
Let's see it. Let's go look
Yes.
at it. So on the Genie 15 site,
I think, sorry, I will go
The
to
regular
Genie,
Genie
yeah,
site.
yes, for the regular.
the old site. So
If I move here to
library,
library,
then scroll down to letters, Genie letters,
Genie letters,
and you click on that.
click here. What I have here
Is a sub-menu.
Yes, it's
by-
a
by
main.
year.
Actually, it's a main page that we can import or not.
Right.
Okay, if we imported this page,
Mm-hmm.
all the links that we need to arrive in the letters
Right.
will be here.
Right.
Yeah, but are they going to the genie.org or Genie 15? When we import, we need to change all the links. I think.
Actually, not. If you use import HTML, you don't need to change the links.
So they are changing.
They will
We
be
need to do
changing
something to
automatically.
change them.
Yes, you have to do something. But the idea is, if you decide to move this section for the new website, Genie 15,
Right.
using import HTML, you don't need to change the links here.
Right.
You only will import
You got to take the
this
whole
page.
section though.
Yes,
If you leave out this page, then all those pages will be there, but there won't be any link to them from a menu.
yes, perfect.
So you'll be hard to find them. You have to search the whole site just to find something.
That's a good point. You have interesting point here.
So we need to document this information architecture tree of our old site and have it accurately laid out before we import all these sections into the new site?
No, actually, for each section, you can create a new content type. And I think it's the best way to import the new sections.
You think so? Because that's a lot of different content types. And all we're doing is bringing in that main section, but they're all HTML.
No, I think you probably will not have a lot of content type, but if you when you create a new content type, you can put a lot of intelligence, a lot of
right,
smart
a lot of different
things.
fields, fields into that content.
In this
type.
content.
Right.
And
only one of them is the main section.
And the other important thing is you can see all the pages you imported for this section as an isolated process.
Right.
For example, if I move here to Genie 15, and I try to look the content that I imported the last time.
Right.
It's something really easy because I can come for content, and then I choose the filter type, and actually I have to choose the content type that I created.
You created
That's
it.
National Energy Grid type.
Okay.
And when I click in filter,
give it a sec.
I can see all the content type that I imported.
All the content that you imported by individual nodes.
Yes.
Right? And by chronological order by the date.
Yes.
Now, the problem that I have is that there's a lot of content on the old Genie site. And that means each section will have to have its own content type. And then we have to define that content type and if they're the different or the same. So that's got to be worked out in advance, kind of. Because if we're going to include that intelligence you're talking about, those different field types, because they might have, but they're all going to have pretty much the same thing. They're going to have text, images, and then possibly links to like files like PDFs or something like that.
As in general, the content type is the same. You only are, when you create a new content type, is just one way to separate this content from another. But it's the same. If you want to create new fields, you can. It's good sometimes. But I think this is not something bad.
Okay.
Actually, it's something, I am creating a new content just to have more control.
Right. Okay.
One
it also
option
helps when new content from that type comes in, we can direct people and give them permissions for just that content type rather than having the whole site.
Yes. And the other interesting thing here, you can create one page that lists this kind of content.
Right.
For example, letters.
One view, yeah.
Yes, exactly, one view.
Right.
You can create one view.
So that way we don't have the problem of menus anymore, so we can just create a view that shows all the content in chronological order, and then you can dig through it or search it. It's not a bad solution, and I think it needs a little bit more research, but I think that, that's kind of leveraging the power of Drupal to allow you to get away from having to create menus and submenus and stuff.
Imagine the situation where Peter needs to create a letter, and then Peter go to Drupal and add content, choose letter, write the letter, click in add, and automatically this letter will appear in the main page. And Peter don't have to worry about this because it is something because it's a specific kind of content. And you create a main page that lists all the letters.
And the view you can customize to be for that content type if you have any kind of special, like first name, last name, whatever it is.
Yes.
Whatever field you need. So.
Exactly.
All right. Let's go back and continue on.
Go back to the parameters.
The parameters for the
import
HTML.
Then the menu settings is.
And you turned
in general,
off that radio
is better.
So no more. It's no longer locked into a menu.
Exactly.
Because we're going to create our content type, and then what else?
Okay. The other parameters that we have to change is about string replacements.
Okay.
The section string replacements. is a other really important section here in the parameters of HTML. Actually, here is where we have to put the rules about what we want to change in the page, the source page to the new page.
Right.
That's the area. Then here I can put what I wrote in Notepad.
Right. So this is the file path that we're going to plug in, so that so all the links work in the new Genie 15 site, right?
Yes. For example, I can write something like
href equals, right?
http genie.org. Then I can replace this for something more in the other side. But actually here I have to use the
there's something going on with the back-end Drupal. It's not wrapping properly or not scaling properly. So the replacement string's all the way hidden off page.
Yes.
So we have to put in the original string from the original site, and then we have to put in the replacement string that we want for the new file path. Okay. Right? So go ahead and do that for us.
Yeah. Then here I am teaching import HTML to replace the link http://genie.org for only for it
for nothing, because it's going to become a relative link instead of an absolute link. Right.
Exactly. That's the point.
Okay.
And I have to add the image source here, but if you look, I don't have the new field. This is because to appear the new field, I have to save the options first.
Okay, so we're going to go down to options and,
yes,
and set up the new field.
Yes.
Right.
Then I have to save.
So it's taking time to communicate with the server.
Yes, probably.
And so basically that's the beginning of the setup, so that we have the right file path for the section that we're in. So we're still in manage settings.
Okay. Then
I'm going to click on the letters, which is our new content type.
And then I move it to replication options again. And then I have to go to string replacements, and if you look now, I have the new field.
You have a new field, so you have no more options that you can add.
Then I will choose image, source. Then I will change this for something like this.
So now we're going to grab the image path for the new site.
Yes.
And we'll put that in the replacement section over here. Okay, so, and every time we save, now we got to go back and save. Make sure you save in Drupal, because it's not always automatic, and it doesn't always tell you that you didn't save.
Yeah. If I click and save.
Okay, click Save Settings. And every time you do that, I assume that a new field appears so that you can change something else if you had a video or a PDF.
Yes, you can add how many fields you need.
Sure.
Okay. It's really important because, for example, in the last profile, I had to put image source twice, because I had one image source like this, and the other image source
with capital letters SRC, right? Because probably the old Dreamweaver people who were programming were doing it, ad hoc, and so they probably use both spellings or both notations.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to note. And then
let me see
after we save it all, anything else we have to change there? Taxonomy or anything?
Just
well, there's lots of options that we can work through slowly by section if we need to. But basically, what that allows us to do is drop in that whole section as a new content type, and then set up views and stuff. But we really do need to go through the old information architecture and make sure it's mapped out properly before we start doing this, because if we don't, then we could lose data somewhere in the site that we wouldn't be able to access easily.
Yes, actually, I think it's a good practice if you have um, Drupal website to test, isolated.
Right.
I think it's a better way to try first in the new website and after trying doing the production environment.
Well, that's kind of what the Genie 15 site is. It's a production environment, and then when we get it finalized, we're just going to copy the whole thing in onto its own domain or whatever. So back and replace the old Genie site with the Genie 15 site.
Yes. There is one important option here that I forgot to explain about is the node type for new pages. Actually, is what we are talking about, the content type.
Right.
Here I can choose the content type that the pages will be imported. For example, do you remember I created the content type National Energy Grid?
Right.
Okay. Letters, in this case, I am teaching Part HTML to create the new pages using this content type. But supposing you don't want to choose a new content type, you want to use a default content type.
Right, like
you
pages
can do.
or...
Yes, you can do. You can only have to choose the content type you want.
Right.
Page, for example.
Yeah, and it might be, okay. So we didn't actually create the letters content type yet.
Yes, we don't create it yet.
We haven't created it yet. So we could go and create it and make sure and like copy the pages one, the page nodes, right? Just copy that content type and call it letters, and it would work just like pages, just like a normal page of any other part of the site, but it would be called letters, and it would just be a copy of that content type.
Perfect.
And if we wanted to add more fields to that, we could independently later or even before. So that's cool.
Perfect. Then when you finish this process, you click in Save Settings, and then after settings, the options, then you are able to use the tab Import HTML site.
Okay. So now, when you do that tab, Import HTML site, is it actually going out to the internet, or is it staying local on the server to import the site? So you could actually do this with any website any site on the web, right?
No, actually not.
Hopefully not.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, this is extremely powerful, right?
Yes, no.
What would stop you? What's stopping you?
Okay, actually not, because how Import HTML site works. Import HTML doesn't work getting the pages directly from the internet.
Right.
You need to have the pages in the server.
Okay.
Stored in the server.
Right.
Then it's a big point, because if you try to use Import HTML targeting to the genie.org direct is not possible. You can't do this. You have to get all the pages you want to import in genie.org. You have to put these pages in the Drupal server in a temporary folder.
Okay.
Because Drupal Import HTML will use this folder to list all the pages that you want to import.
Okay. So show us that part. Okay,
this part is you have to click here in Import HTML site.
Right.
And then here you have to choose the profile you want.
Right. Letters. Okay.
Letters. And here inside the root on the server, you have to write the address where your pages are.
Okay, so that's the subfolder that we created on the site or on the server to hold the old site.
Yes, the interesting point here is this address is the address of the temporary pages. When you finish this process, the perfect situation is you have to go to this page, to this folder, and delete all the files that are there, because you don't need more.
Right.
Okay. Then, because I know we have files here, I use this address, sites default files, national energy grid _3. Okay.
Okay, that was for the national energy grid. That's not for the letters section.
Not the letter sets. It's just an example.
Right.
We will
So
not
we would have
impart
to replace national energy grid with
for
letters.
letters, exactly. Yeah. And here is some important informations, letters import profile about the profile you created. It's good to look these informations because you can see if there is something wrong or not. For example, pages will be recreated underneath.
Pages will be created underneath.
Yes. You can see if the address you put, the prefix you wrote is correct or not.
Right.
That's the moment to review the parameters. Then you click in next.
Right. And this is where it's going to give you that string of files that you can click on, right? Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Then here you will have a list of all the pages and files that you put in the folder that you will import.
That are in the structure, the hierarchy, yeah.
Okay.
And you can choose like those 3 top buttons to
Yes.
pick all of them.
Yeah, if you click, for example, in page, they will select all the pages you have here in the folder.
It looks like only some of them are selected, right? Oh, those are pages, not those other ones. The other files are graphics.
Yes, graphics and PDFs and other kinds of presentations, PPT
Right.
and something like this. If you click in image, you will import all the images.
Right.
The point here is, if it's possible, don't import the images using import HTML.
Right.
Because if you use import HTML,
you don't need the images in the file structure.
Yes, exactly.
They need to go in their own proper file structure someplace else.
Exactly. Then it's better using import HTML to import pages.
Right. What's the resource button for? Oh, that's the
Resource,
other files.
Yes, the other kinds of files.
Okay, so how do you technically you could batch all of these together and just do it in one big swoop, but you were showing me that you want to do it in little chunks, right? So show me how you do the chunks.
Okay, then you can move for the specific folders. Sorry, let me unselect.
Unselect everything and then go down and find the particular pages that you want.
Yes, then
in each section.
Yes, then you can.
So it looks like that's got one page in Nambia.
Yes, you choose which page you want. For example, index. Nepal, I select index. I don't want this Giphy. I don't want this option.
So you're just getting the SHTML pages out of each nation and this is an example. This would normally be the letters, but you're using it for importing nations. And what this is going to do is going to create a node or a page for the content type. What was it called? Well, for this section, it's letters.
This section
but it
should
what
be
was the one
letters,
we were
but
on?
in national energy grid.
National energy grid.
Yes.
So right now, they're all in their own subfolders by nation. And that would get rid of the subfolders and just create the nodes by the nation's name, right?
Yes. Then, when you complete to select this option, because I maybe some bug because I unselected the option page, and if you look here, you can see all the pages selected.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will go back here for the
you can
preview
cancel
page.
This. Yeah, you
yes,
can cancel it.
Yes, I will click next again.
And start over again.
Yes, no problem.
So now nothing's selected, so you can just go to the particular nation you want. Now, how many pages should you do at once? Because you have to check them, right? So
yes, you can select all the pages you want here, but the point is, if you have many files and many folders, import HTML will not be able to list all this content.
right.
They will drop the content, maybe show only the main folder, and they will give you a message, explain this, that you will not be able to see all the pages.
Right.
If this happens, the best way to solve this is get the main folder and create new folders with the name of the main folder, but with number 2 and number 3, and move part of the content for the other folders. Actually, you have to distribute the content in other folders.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand. So why do you need to distribute it? So that you can check it, or?
Okay, let me give. Imagine we have, for example, the folder country, and inside the folder country, we have all the countries. For example,
as pages or as
subfolders? Subfolders.
Okay, subfolders
yes.
of each country, right?
And inside the subfolders countries, we have the pages.
Right.
If Drupal import HTML in this case will not be able to list all this content because it's too many or so many countries, what you have to do is get the folders countries and distribute this content in another folders. For example, you have the, let me show some. If you have the folder country and the subfolders Brazil, Argentina,
sure,
and the USA, and if import HTML will not able to list all this content,
right,
what you have to do is get part of this content, create a new folder, call it country2, for example,
sure,
and then you have to move part of the content for the new folder. You distribute it to reduce the number of folders and files.
Okay. How many can it do? It can only do like 2 or 3, right?
Yes, 2, 3. In my case, I separate in 3 folders.
Okay.
But if we have like 10, is it possible to do with that?
Sorry, if 10?
If we have like 10, 15, whatever.
Yeah, yes, no problem. You can have how many you want. But usually, I think 2 or 3 will be enough for the sections. Because we don't have so many files in the section. For example, I look in National Energy Grid, we have many files, but 3 sections was 3 subfolders was
enough to split it up so you could see it all and check it all, right?
Yes, it's just because this, you can check each page. The reason that you have to do this is only to be able to check each page that you want to import.
Right, to make sure the links are working and that the graphics are importing properly.
Yes, exactly. I think the limit is 500 items. 500 items that import HTML can list.
Okay.
Okay, you can change this. You can go to import HTML and you can change for 1,000, for example.
Right.
But maybe it's not a good practice because if you put more content, it's more work to import HTML, to list all this content and to stay working to import all this content at the same time.
Right.
Okay.
So you're suggesting that we should chunk it. But now after we check it, can we put those all back into one folder rather than having breaking it up into multiple folders, or is it because that's going to change the directory path, right? And that will change all the.
Actually, this path is not the path that Drupal uses to define the address.
So it's just for within import HTML.
It's just to import the HTML.
Right, so that you can see it in the module as you're doing it. It's not for your final path directory.
Exactly, it's not to define the address in Drupal website.
Can you give us an example? Just go ahead and use letters here and do something, and then we'll. erase it if necessary.
Yes, but I think here if I select something, they will import the file. Maybe it's better I choose the other profile, National Energy Grid, and import
Switch to that.
existing
Switch to the
profile.
National Energy Grid and show us how you do one.
Okay.
So click on that
Yes, I will
top
click
tab again. So you're going to reload this page.
Yes.
And then you can choose,
Okay.
instead of letters, you can choose National
choose
Energy Grid as
National
your
Energy
import
Grid.
profile.
Again, I will keep the site root.
The site route's the same because
It's the same.
it's the only one that exists so far.
Yes. And then I will click in next.
Click next, and then this is going to go in to grab the same actual folder hierarchy.
Yes. Then I will choose.
Do one you haven't done all these yet, have you?
Yes, yes.
Oh, you have.
Actually, yes, working. But now I can choose, for example, let me try someone.
Is there one in here that you have?
Yes, I don't know if it's working. Let me try Singapore.
Let's reproduce Singapore. Okay.
Yes, let me show if I don't know if it's Singapore, and then I go to import files.
Okay, so now you click on import files, and the module opens up a dialog box, right? With what's going to be imported.
The next.
Oh no, it's done.
Yes, it's done. They move for another page, and then you can see how many files was processed.
Okay, it tells you how many are processed
Yes,
and how many
files was imported.
So that was the graphic.
Yes,
Now
this is a really important option because here you can see if all the files you list was really imported.
Right.
Then now if you want to check if the page was imported okay or not, you go
click?
to content.
Okay.
And then you apply the filter for the content type that you have created.
Okay.
In this case, I have the filter.
National Energy Grid or whatever.
National Energy Grid
Right.
type. And then if I look here,
the one at the top should be it.
yes, the top is the
today.
page that was created. Then I can click to see the content.
Okay, and that's going to be Singapore
Yes,
again, right?
yes. If you look here, that was an important point here. This image is working, and some images
Or not.
are not. And the reason because that image are not working, if you look in the link, we can click here, inspect element.
Inspect the element, right?
And then you can see the address.
From inside Firefox browser
Yes.
or Google browser.
Yes, you can see the addresses, sites, default, files, National Energy Grid,
Singapore
and
GIF.
Singapore.gif.
But it's got two GIFs.
In this section,
Yeah.
yes, but it's the name of image. It's not.
Okay,
It's not a problem. In this section, some images are not in the graphics folder.
Okay.
There is an exception.
They're included in the actual
Yes.
folder with the
Yes.
STHML.
Yes, if you look at that other images that are working, if you click here, inspect element, you will see sites, default, files, National Energy Grid, graphics, then Singapore.
Right.
What we have to do in this case is only get these images and move it for the National Energy Grid folder.
Right.
Copy to the energy.
So
National
it
Grid
missed
folder.
that graphic, and so we have to go and manually move that graphic to the graphics folder. Or not yet.
No, not. The only thing we have to do is get some images that are not in graphics folder
Right.
and move it to National Energy Grid. Just it. I can show in Dreamweaver.
Show me how you do that.
Yes. Actually, we have to, for example, if I go to library and the National Energy Grid, and if I go to Singapore,
is.
Okay, Singapore. There is one image
Right.
that are not inside the graphics folder.
Right.
What we have to do is get all the images that are not inside the folder graphics.
Right.
Not only in Singapore, but all the images in the other folders.
Right.
And move and copy these images for the address. Sorry. For this address.
Right.
National Energy Grid.
Right.
Because we put all the images that we use in this section inside the graphics.
Right.
But there is some exceptions.
Right.
And the exceptions are here.
So
We have to do only to select these images and move it for the...
move them all into that same
Yes.
file path. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
The only problem is that they are going to be sitting next to the. I see. Okay, so. Yeah, so they're going to be sitting in next to the graphics folder, but they're graphics, but they're just going to sit next to it in the file path,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird, but I guess it's
And we
Yeah.
have a lot of those.
there is a lot of them. Yes.
Yeah.
It would be better if we could put them into the graphics folder before we moved everything in.
But I think.
And I think Dreamweaver has the ability to correct the path.
Yes.
But I think that Paul Michael already imported all the images, so we have those in Drupal already. So if we are now importing them again, then we have them twice in Drupal.
The point is here,
I
is
think.
one important point here. When we are talking about import a lot of pages one time, you have to keep the things, you have to change it, how can I say? We don't have to change a lot of things, because if you change a lot of things, it's not good, because you have to edit the.
Yeah, but are you sure that we don't have
source.
those pictures already in Drupal in some folder? I think we have.
Right. We might have them
For-
and be duplicating it.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
trying to say, for example, if you have all the images in one specific folder, and if you can replace teaching, import HTML to replace all the images for this folder where they are all the images, is good.
Right.
But if you cannot do this for some reason,
Right.
we have to change each image, then is not a good option. In this case, I put in the graphics folder because if you look in the image source, the graphics folder is there. I
Right.
have only to inside the complement of the
Right.
address. Then I don't have to change a lot of things.
Right.
I was just wondering that we don't want it to be duplicated all the pictures.
Right. We don't
It's
want
so
to
much
duplicate either
space.
the space or,
Yeah.
and some of these files might get very big, especially if they're not,
So-
if they're
Yeah.
video files
so-
or something.
so
it would
if-
be better to have them all in one folder and then, or one hierarchy of folders. That's what I'm talking about, the information architecture. We have to kind of work that out beforehand. And even if we have to manually change a few of them,
That's
as we're
better.
checking the pages, that's okay. And it's just something we have to do to try to minimize the amount of space that the site takes up. And also, it allows us to refer to those same images or graphics or videos or files from other places and other content on the site by using the same file path.
Okay.
So it's all one place and not duplicated over and over.
If you have, for example, all the images in one specific folder, maybe it's the easy way to change all the links of images, because all the images is one
Right.
specific folder.
Yep.
I think
I think we already have
be easy.
uploaded all the images.
But
Paul Michael?
because there is one important point is because we have images in a lot of folders, maybe you can have a duplicated image or images with the same name.
With the same name.
Yes, I
Paul
don't know
Michael.
if this happens, but if you have images
Maybe.
with the
Maybe.
same name,
Yeah.
you will not be able
Don't
to
copy.
move all
No,
the images
no,
for the
yeah.
same folder.
I understand that, but no.
But
none of
I don't
the-
know the size of the
We
folder.
represent.
None of the images should have the same name. So there should not be two Singapore-gif.gifs. There should only be one on the whole site. And if there were two Singapore-gifs.gifs, then we would name one Singapore.-gif2.gif, and that way it would separate them. But we'd have to do that manually. But this at least is giving us a good way to import as much of it as possible, and then we just have to check the pages for those gaps like this and correct it if it's wrong. I was looking at, can you go back to the Dreamweaver? Let's go Dreamweaver.
But can I ask,
Yeah.
did you already import all the images from the Genie.org to Genie 15?
That was an impossibility to even know where they all were.
So you don't,
First time.
yeah. So,
what
so
I'm
we
doing
don't
is
have any,
I'm
all of them.
transferring them on a as-needed ad hoc basis. So when someone says, oh, I need to import all of these images from a particular directory or subdirectory, I import them.
Right.
So we have some, but not all. And we
So-
don't know what we have and what not.
That's correct. Now, as an example, when Flavio began importing all of the images from the National Energy Grid directory, what I did was I had to help him by moving files to a particular new file in the WRSC website folder on our local area network, and then transfer all of those files en masse onto the Genie 15 site into a single directory, which he specified. I'm okay with that. It flattens our directory structure and gives us an opportunity to see those files on the pages that he's transferred using the import HTML module. And the second step of the process will be, of course, to add those images into the MySQL database with the appropriate tags. That second stage or second step hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, well, when I'm looking here at the Dreamweaver, which is, I'm assuming, reading off of the actual Genie site.
Dreamweaver.
It's the file structure from the Genie site. So here we've gone down into the National Energy Grid, and it's got all the sub-file folders for each individual country. And then down here we've opened up Singapore. And under Singapore there's a graphics folder. And if I open up the one right above it, which is Sierra Leone,
We don't have everything.
Yes,
There's a high probability that the country may not have anything in it at all because we haven't found anything for it.
right. So Sierra Leone has not had the research done for it, but Serbia has, and Serbia also has a graphics folder. So these two countries both have individual graphics folders. Now, right now, with the current way we've got it set up, it's taking all of these individual graphics folders and combining them into one graphics folder, so that all of the nodes link to that same file name path into that graphics folder. So all the graphics that are in those graphics folders, and this one has several of them, will end up in that one giant graphics folder, and that'll basically keep them in only one copy of them in there, and we can refer to that one copy of them many times from many different nodes. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now the other images that are like this one, which is at a level up, which is actually in the Singapore folder, is the one that we're having trouble with. And we do not, right now his solution is to drop it into the file. Can you open up the notepad here? Is it?
Yep.
No.
Here.
Drop it into the file name
National Energy Grid.
structure, one above the graphics. So then that in the file structure, you'd have a graphics folder with tons of graphics, and then one level up from that, you'd have another folder with a lot of graphics in it also.
Not how it should be done. All of the graphics should be in the quote-unquote National Energy Grid graphics folder.
Right. So there's two solutions that I can see. One would be to go into Dreamweaver and before importing the site, go and move all these like hanging graphics or file folders into you know, you can call it a graphics file.
But if we do
Well,
that,
so then eventually, and this is one thing that I haven't talked to Flavio about yet, is that instead of having it in a folder called graphics, which is absolutely horrendous for search engine optimization, it should be National Energy Grid or some other global grid, maybe as an example.
No, it's already in the file structure, which is very complex, right?
I understand it's already complex, but I'm just saying is for more effective search engine optimization, the name, the directory named graphics needs to be renamed into a search engine term. That's all.
Yeah.
and if can we move those pictures in Dreamweaver without hurting the genie.org site?
Yes.
No.
Why not?
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
No,
We can, but we need to
not
do
the
something
original.
else. We
Don't
can't
make the,
move
don't
them.
make the change in the genie.org site or file structure. Make the change
In
on
Drupal.
the WRSC temporary site that as we're moving it into the Genie 15
Yes.
directory folder structure. So there's a difference. Because if you start messing up the genie.org site, the maintenance of the existing site will be messed up. It'll be hard to figure out what's happened or what's
Yes.
changed.
Yes,
So make
I
the
agree.
change.
I
It's
agree.
so
Yeah.
Make the
complex
change.
though, genie.org. We don't want to make any changes
Don't
in
want to
there
make any
anymore.
changes right now.
Yeah.
So make the changes. I like the suggestion. Make the changes, but
me
make the
too.
changes in the WRC subdomain file structure. It will help us make the shift, do the import effectively.
Yeah, and in the long way it will be easier and
In
quicker.
the long term, it'll be easier, but right now, leave the genie.org, and because we're going to archive all of that anyway. I don't want to mess with it now because I don't even want to maintain it. I don't want to
Me
break
either.
any links.
Maybe what we have to do is, how we want all the images in the new website in Genie 15, and then we can try to define this, and then find a way in import HTML to move all the images in different sections for the correct place. But if you choose this, I think it's the best way because we don't have, I think it's not a good idea changing nothing in Genie.org. We have to keep Genie.org in the same way.
With
We
all
have a
warts
lot
and
of
all,
powers.
leave that warts and all.
We have a lot of
right now.
power to
okay,
change,
so
to change
I-
the things in
I'm just going
import
to
HTML.
throw in here because I've been doing this since '91 and I know how to update these sites. All right,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and using Dreamweaver, and if it's correctly associated with the genie.org site on the database, I mean on the server, you can just copy that whole file structure and create a second file with the entire genie.org site. Okay, that's your archive. That's your untouchable, right?
Well, hold on a second. Do it in WRC.org, which we've got that structure as well. We just have to. That's what I'm saying. Is that we've already got.
Well, WRC.org, as far as I'm understood, is a Drupal site.
Yes, but it's got HTML. The subdomains portion of it is a mixture. It's a hybrid right now because it's been so difficult to move the Genie 15 subdomain.
Right, but that's a matter of that's a WRSC site issue with the graphics inserted into the file structure there. Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, but
So that's where the separation needs to be. We need to make all those before we turn that live. We have to make that subdomain look good, work good, feel good in Drupal. But right now it's not. All we're doing is transferring the files into a Drupal
instance. But there's two
Yes.
different Drupal instances. There's one for the SIMCenter and there's one for Genie. And right now we're working on the one for Genie, not the one for the
Genie
WRC.
15.
Genie 15. So
Thank
we're taking the genie.org site and moving it to Genie 15.
Yes.
Right? And although that is running in a subdomain of the WRSC site, because it's genie15.wrsc,
Yes.
eventually it will be its own Drupal instance and will have the domain directly linked to that instance.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the point is that if you're worried about the original genie.org website and you don't want to, and the archived nature of the links and everything like that, you can make a backup copy of that. So that you have.
We already have multiple backup copies, and we continue to make backup copies of that. And if we're going to create the Genie 15 site,
okay, you can make a clone of that site. Let me restate my use different language so that we can be on the same page here. So you can make a clone of that site so that you do not touch the original file structure whatsoever, and you allow it to continue to ride on the web as is. Okay, so you don't have to worry about your information architecture or your links being broken. Now, having said that, Dreamweaver, at least the versions of it which I have used up until 2007, 2008. When you change the position of a file within using the Dreamweaver, like on here, the Dreamweaver interface, okay, where is it? When it comes up, right here. If I actually move that file to someplace else, it will give me a dialog box that would say, do you want to reestablish the links? And it would actually drill through the whole site, and anything that was linked to that file, it would correct the link on it. All right.
We hope it does. Yes.
No, it's not a hope. It
No,
does.
no.
I know it does because I've been doing it for 20 years.
Well,
So
I've also used Dreamweaver since version 3, and it's been consistently inconsistent in that function.
You may have been using it on a PC, so that might be the problem. But on the Mac, it always works.
I'm
and it
glad
not
it-
only
I-
always works,
I'm glad it always works.
I put
I
my
think
life,
it's
stick my life on
yeah,
it.
I think it's possible, but I'm not sure if you can move. In this case, that you have many subfolders. If it's possible to select all the files in the subfolders and move the group
No, you wouldn't want to do that.
for another place.
You wouldn't move all the files in the subfolders. All you do is just go through these folders
Each one.
And just pull them into the graphics folder, and then when it says, do you want to change the links, you push yes. And it would automatically do that. And once they're all in the graphics folders, then when you import them using the Drupal module import HTML, they're all going to be shuffled. All those graphics folders are going to be combined in that file structure so that all the graphics for that type of file of name right here, everything that's under this level will end up in this graphics folder. So they'll all, and as far as URL optimization for keywords, it's all going to be under nationalenergygrid.graphics/graphics.
But in genie.org, we don't have those graphic folders in everywhere. It's like there is places that we don't have graphics. We have images without that folder. So
Absolutely, but
there is a lot of different
import HTML allows you
pages.
to create that file structure,
yeah.
right? And
But
it automatically updates it and pulls everything in. And then once you have that file structure as a standard throughout the entire site, then anything that's outside of that, you can move in manually at a later date.
So I'm
Yeah.
fine with doing that as long as you create the clone under the WRFC folder structure on our local area network. I'm fine as long as you do that movement there.
But if we go, example, to the articles, we don't have any graphic folders in there.
That's
but we
correct.
have a lot of graphics under every page.
What you have to think, Mike, is about, I understand you have to create a standard, and this is something really good. We need this. But you have to think is, when you put some new tasks to move and to organize this kind of things, you add manual work sometimes. That, for example, if you decide to move all the images from one place for another, maybe you have to calculate how many hours more you need to move these folders and decide if it is a good idea or not.
Sure.
When you put all of these things that you need to do in hours, how many hours you need, then you can decide, okay, this is a good idea, I can do this because I don't need too many hours to make this. Or in this situation, for example, is not the best way. I think not the best way to move all the content, but it's the fast way to put all this content inside Drupal. And then after that, we have the other steps. Then you can fix a lot of things. It's only, I think, one balance. We have to analyzing.
it's
Oh,
speed
this is
versus quality. You know, there's
Yeah.
there's this pyramid, right, or this triangle where they say you can have it done well, you can have it done cheap, or you can have it done fast. Now pick two.
Yeah, I not
Right.
put speed versus quality, but maybe steps, because I think the last step is have a website with high quality. Is the last step, but the point is we have to do some steps before or
Right.
after. That's the
No, I
the
get
point.
you, but I think with this batch editing of importing multiple HTML pages, because it's so much faster and easier than what we had been working on before, doing each page individually, manually, right? And that
Right.
would have included all of the same file movement and everything like that. If we create the information architecture in advance and we know what the structure is supposed to be, and we do that and then use this batch system to import it, we get highest quality in the least amount of time, and you don't have to reinvent it in the future or
Yeah,
have
if
other
it-
people digging through it. So
If it is
fine
possible?
With you, I'm fine with you doing that as long as you don't disturb the current genie.org.
yeah, well, that's the power of computers. You can infinitely reproduce sites as many times as you want. So
Right.
You know.
So I'm fine with you doing it as long as you do that restructuring under the WRC.org subdomain structure. I'm fine with that.
yeah. And in that way, but you have to define the architecture, the information architecture in advance. And I don't
Yeah.
know what the old Genie site architecture is.
It's
That's the
ad
problem.
hoc. That's the problem.
Yeah. So the trick is to do it not ad hoc the second time, right?
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to avoid. Now, I'm not saying that the way you're doing it is totally ad hoc. It actually is following that same structure. But if that same structure did not have those standards built into it, and there's a million ways. There's no right or wrong way to structure it. You know, there's a million different ways to structure it. But if you do it, you know, in a consistent format, then at least in the future we can find out where the information is, rather than just losing it somewhere in that web of file folders. And
it's somewhere under site/default/files/ who knows where.
right. And if we put everything in folders that are labeled graphics, I can actually make things, you know, like in Drupal, you can actually search through an entire file folder structure and just find the graphics folders and then have them all combined later.
Yeah.
So that's in the future, if we wanted to have everything backed up in one folder and we could just back up the folder, it would be a huge folder, but you know what I mean? It would be easier to back up the site that way. On a periodic basis. And that's eventually what ideally you want to do, is because you don't want to have multiple graphics folders with the same images over and over in each one.
One of the issues, and this is, or one of the soon-to-be advantages of why we're moving to Drupal, is that eventually for each country we'll have things like resource maps. As an example, solar maps. Let's take a country, Argentina. Starts with an A, so it's the beginning of the alphabet. Let's start with Argentina. We'll have solar maps of Argentina, wind maps, grid maps, political maps, all different types of maps, all different types of graphics that relate to articles that relate to Argentina.
Right.
So the question is, do we have a table that's based by a category of country called Argentina, or a category of, what's the topic that the article or the map relates to, or both? So it's all about design of the taxonomy. That's in the second step after we transferred the files. So how do we actually bring all of the country-related maps and information into one section of the or one lookup or dashboard for a particular country? Now, there have been efforts already to made under the National Energy Grid Index to bring the top 20 countries into a dashboard look and feel, but it's using the traditional table-based HTML that we built the original Genie website in.
Right.
Now, moving that dashboard into a block and panel/view, however you choose to do it, dashboard design for that country will be part of getting this really looking like a new version website, where all of a sudden we can say, oh yeah, by the way, on our dashboard we have a national energy grid, we've got all the renewable resources, we've got all the issues, all in one space.
So there's a little bit of confusion here between an existing HTML website and a Drupal website. So the Drupal website, all the content is literally inside an SQL database. Okay?
MySQL database.
So all the text and everything, the graphics, the videos, the PDF files can be in any file structure that you design.
And can be actually in the MySQL database as well.
No, they can't.
Oh, thank you.
That's something that you may not have realized, but they cannot be. A MySQL database does not hold the image files or the graphics, at least not in Drupal. Okay. What happens is there is a URL or a link within the server structure that is embedded into the SQL.
The difference is like a wrapper. You put in the SQL the wrapper that link from the
links
image
to that file, those files. So those files could be anywhere.
Yeah, but I think the effect is as a kind of the images inside the database. It's not really inside the database, but if you go to Drupal and search for, I want to look at all the images related with Brazil.
A table which is
and then you
labeled by
write
a
Brazil
content
and you
type,
can see all the images.
Right,
related.
and the content type defines how those images are viewed, and you can view them in different, you can stack them in different ways. So by defining your information architecture correctly, those views will automatically be available to you. So right now they're manually built because they're in the old HTML like Dreamweaver, which I perfectly like and I love it, but it's with the searchable database that Drupal has, we have the ability to make it so that you could have, you could separate all the, you can make a view for a continent, say, with all of the particular nations in that continent and have that come up, right? So there's it makes it more dynamic and more searchable and stuff like that, which I agree that's the ultimate goal, but the trick is to figure out the information architecture ahead of time.
Yep.
And then that way, but the path name or the path file structure that he's setting up right here with this is, I don't want to say it's arbitrary, but when Drupal queries the database, it returns a string that concatenates the file path into that URL. That file structure may not exist anywhere on any computer, but it's returning that to the browser. So for search engine purposes, it can create what they call human-friendly strings.
Yes.
Or computer-friendly strings, and
yes.
the human-friendly strings are also useful for search engines,
yes.
but it's a virtual file structure. It doesn't have to exist in real life. It could.
It's a virtual address.
It's a virtual address, right?
Yep.
So, when it goes to the Drupal server and it looks for it, it actually just returns it goes to it looks internal and it says, oh, that's this ugly computer-generated file name, and that's what they really want. And then it returns with the URL the way that human beings can read it and search engines can find stuff. So that's why you have to kind of think it through ahead of time to figure out how you want to do it, whether you actually want to have that physical file structure and that's where you're keeping your graphics and files, which is possible, or do you just want to pile them all into one big pool or a set of pools and then let the machine remember where they're at?
So one of the things that in our process of doing the import was that we found that Drupal has a practical limit, a default limit that didn't allow us an unlimited deep number of subdirectories that we could use. So
What was the limit?
I think
Oh,
it was
yeah,
6
yeah.
or 7.
I don't remember anymore.
Beyond-
But yeah, there is.
Beyond the site's default files.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. It was like 6 or
Anyway,
7.
it's shorter than it is in Windows. So in Windows folders, it could be much more longer.
Sure, yeah, I've heard that too. So yeah, they won't let you step down more than 7 or 8. And that's because they want to keep the URLs short. But
And that's good,
within
but
that 7
anyway.
or 8, you can have literally any name for those. So it's an infinite number of folders, but it's just limited to 7 or 8 steps down. So,
Yeah.
but that's kind of not a bad thing because it's forcing you to be disciplined about how you name files and do things. So yeah, there is a practical limit there, but it's still an infinite number of file folders. I mean, it probably is limited to like 132,000 or something like that of, you know, different file folders, but it's for all practical purposes. It's for human beings. It's more than we're going to remember. But
Anyway, in Windows it's too long.
All right. So just to finish this up, we have a unique tool that I didn't know existed before called import HTML that can that we can dig through, and all we have to do is figure out the proper architecture, and we can batch import all the files in blocks, in groups.
Yes.
And check them much more quickly than we thought we could in the previous part.
Yeah.
And I thank Flavio for figuring this out and for giving us a walkthrough of how to concatenate the file name strings, and set it up. So you've done one, and we only have what, 50 more to go, something like that, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me go end this thing before it gets too long.
One more thing.
You got something
Like
else? All right.
Steve Jobs was
What do you
not
got?
something.
What do you
It's just to remember something. When we are importing the files, some HTML files are not in the correct encoding. Then they have to convert for a correct encoding that MySQL works. That is UTF-8.
Yeah.
There is one easy way to make this. Is a program called UTF Cast Express. It's really easy. You have to open this program, put the directory where the folders are.
UTF Cast Express?
Yes, UTF Cast Express. We have in the documents that where is the address that you can do the download. You can download the program. You put the address of the original folder and the address of the new folder with the where you want to save the new content.
Right.
Click in Start, and that's it. The UTF-cast will get the files and convert it to UTF-8. Why is it is important is because if you look some pages will be imported with weird characters.
Right.
And if you don't want this, you have to
like
convert
the
before.
ampersand or the percent sign, they have to be...
No, especially international accented characters.
Yes.
That are not properly translated.
From some of the research we've done, we pulled in
Absolutely, file names.
like letters from Portuguese and stuff like
Yes,
that.
yes. Especially if you get some content from Brazil, Argentina, Spain, you will get this problem.
There's a wide number of...
But it's appearing all right on the old site in the Genie.
No,
It's not.
no, not always.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And even if it is, it's inconsistently applied.
Right.
So that's why we had to use it to make
But the SQL database won't hold it at all.
Oh, absolutely it will, as long as you specify the encoding.
Reformat it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why this is important.
Yeah.
But
So
it's a
Do we have to do
really
that to
easy.
the
Yes,
whole-
it's a really easy step. When you put before put the files in the Drupal server, you open the program, you put write the address, the directory,
Right.
where is the folders, click Start, and that's it.
And
It's
it's
really
okay.
easy.
So it does it all at once.
Easy and fast.
Yes.
Yes. It's not something.
And it doesn't
else.
mess up the HTML encoding or anything. You can still read the pages.
No,
And
no.
all
Yes, yes. It's
that. Okay.
really good.
Well then, yeah, that's a good point then.
Yeah.
I always had problems with translating internationally. I had no idea how they were going to do that with the Chinese and Koreans. You know,
Doing it by hand that's a piece of work.
yeah. I mean, it's one thing to do another Roman language or a Latin language. You know, it's another thing to do
character by character.
Yeah, 5,000 character alphabets doesn't work
It's
for
not,
me.
it's not beautiful at all.
Yeah,
And not only that, but Dreamweaver doesn't work well with it.
Oh,
yeah.
It's not nice.
I don't know how that works, and that's a deep web problem that I think every nation is working through right now in different ways. So I don't know what Google's the big company. Let them figure it out.
yeah. I don't have idea too. It's really complicated.
All right. Well, that's good
That's
to
it.
know. Is there anything else? Questions? No? All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.